Hello, happy Thursday. It's been a little while. I haven't been cooking that much. A couple reasons. Partly because it's been a rough week with my kids. Hudson's been making things very difficult. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, before all of this, we put Carter on the bus at 8 and until 4, he had us all to himself. So he got a lot of one-on-one attention. And now, not only is Carter home, which he's been for the first, 3 weeks or 4 weeks, but now we have online school. So I'm having to devote that hour and a half to 2 hours with just Carter, and Hudson's having to do something independently, and he really isn't liking that. So he's finding everything under the sun to make things a little bit more difficult this week. Couple that with the fact that I was trying to not drink until my birthday tomorrow. So I was trying to take 4 days off because I knew I'd probably be having some beverages on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which when you combine Hudson and not drinking, that doesn't always go so well. And then I think we've just been a little bit bummed because we're realizing how many things we're missing, because of all of this. So it started with us missing our vacation, getting canceled, our trip to the Dominican. Of course, everybody missed Easter. We had to cancel our party last weekend that we would have had everybody here to celebrate. And both of our birthdays are going to be spent in quarantine. So it's kind of a downer. It's just not having my head in the right place. But I'm sticking with the exercising, and I do think that helps. The other reason I haven't been cooking that much is because I haven't been as inspired as far as quick stuff. That's not to say we haven't been cooking, but we've been cooking things that take a lot of time. And for video purposes, I don't know if that's so great. I made the hand-rolled agnolotti with the crab cream sauce again. I made macarons from scratch. We did raspberry macarons we made on Saturday. We did dry rubbed smoked chicken wings. So we've been cooking, we've been making good stuff, but just not easy to share with you. But I'm going to catch up today. So today I'm going to show you how to make 2 things that are relatively quick to make. So the first half of this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make steamed clams, our version of white wine steamed clams. And then I'm going to do a separate video, so it's not so long, that's going to go over how to make a lobster or lobster-like risotto with some fennel and lemon and a little bit of cheese. So to kick it off, I did the prep for both things all together. There's 2 things that I did ahead of time to get this rolling. So first, if you ever bought clams in the grocery store, what you should know is they need to sit in water at least twice. Some people will tell you more than that. So you put a couple of inches of cold water in your sink and you throw the clams in there. So clams live underwater, they breathe through water, they cycle sand through. That's how they make pearls. So the sand is all still inside those. So when you put them in the cold water, they start to breathe again, they start pushing out the sandy water. You wanna do that once, you'll see all the grit in the bottom of your sink, drain it out, fill it up again, and go through it again. Essentially, you wanna do it until there's not more grit in the bottom of your sink. Then you know your clams are clean and ready to cook. The other thing that I did, and I told you I'm making a lobster-like risotto, because I went shopping today to pick up stuff for my birthday tomorrow, and we're going to be doing a lot of cooking tomorrow, so be prepared for some drunk cooking videos. Could be fun, But we're doing tuna poke tomorrow, we're doing fried oysters tomorrow, we're doing fish crudo, halibut crudo tomorrow, so if any of those are your thing, tune in. But anyway, so I was spending a lot of money on other things and I couldn't really talk myself into buying lobster. So instead I bought monkfish. If you're not familiar with monkfish, it's called the poor man's lobster because it has a similar texture and taste to lobster, and it's significantly cheaper. So I was there today and it was $9.99 a pound for some of the monkfish. But I want to show you what it looks like once it's cooked. So I just poached mine in butter. I throw 2 sticks of butter in the pan. I let it melt down. I put it on a low simmer, and then that's when I put the fish in so that it can cook. And I'll get it up close. See how that looks when it's all cooked? So that's why they say poor man's lobster. And that's what I'm going to chop up and I'm going to use instead. By all means, if you have real lobster, use real lobster. But poach it the same way. Do the 2 sticks of butter, let it melt, put it on low, and then I split my lobster tails in half so they cook more evenly, and butter poach it just till they're just barely done, just past that opaque stage, and pull them out then and let them sit at room temperature. That's fine until you finish the dish. So I butter poached, I had the clams already soaking, and I butter poached that monkfish ahead of time. Part of my reason for doing that is because I want to reuse that butter. So anytime you butter poach anything, you have this butter left over, and I mean, who has the heart to throw it out, right? I'm going to use it for both the dishes I have. So I split that butter in between the pan that I'm going to use for my risotto and the pan that I'm going to use for the clams. So once you have those clams washed thoroughly, you can go ahead, drain them of all the water. I have the pan on the stove, and I have the butter in there already getting hot. So I have my ingredients split here. So on this half of the board, I have just half of a chopped onion. The other half is over here for my risotto. I have 2 cloves of garlic. I have half of a lemon that's already been zested. I put the zest in this bowl with the cheese. That's going to be used for the risotto as well. The other half of the lemon's over there. And then I have parsley as well that we're going to use. And then the last thing that you'll need to make those clams is a baguette. So I have a nice baguette over here already sliced, and we're going to oil that, salt, pepper, and toast it off as well. First step, melt the butter in the pan, get it nice and hot, pot that has a lid, get it nice and hot. And then once that starts to sizzle, you're gonna throw in your garlic and your onions and let them saute, okay? Okay, I'm back. So I sauteed up in the butter, the onions and garlic, and now it's time to deglaze the pan. So one thing I forgot to mention is you're gonna need some wine to cook with. Typically, I would like to pick a white Burgundy. So Louis Jadot makes, Louis Jadot makes a Macon Village. It's one of my favorite French white Burgundies. It's like 15 bucks a bottle. You can't beat it. But at Giant today, they had no French wines. So instead, we're going to do some Chateau Ste. Michelle. So this is from Columbia Valley, Washington. And it has a somewhat similar profile. I find that California makes their Chardonnays way too oaky for me, but if you get a Chardonnay from Washington or Oregon, they're a little bit more Burgundian style, and I appreciate that. So you have that hot butter with those sauteed onions and garlic. You're gonna deglaze that pan. I'm just gonna say a half a cup or so of that white wine. We're gonna use that same white wine for the risotto that we're cooking today. You're also going to add in half of that lemon, and you can throw the whole rind in there once you're done. Juice it, and then just let that whole thing go right in the water. We're gonna throw our clams in. So we already washed them, drained them. Make sure you look at any of your shellfish before you cook it. If the shells are cracked in any way, discard them. If they happen to be open, that doesn't necessarily mean they're bad, but when you tap them on the counter, they should close up. If they don't, discard them. You don't wanna take any risk there. So pour those clams in, and then the last thing I'm gonna do is put that parsley on top. I'm gonna cover them and get them back on the burner. And I also have all of my baguette, oiled, salt, peppered, and that's gonna go back into the oven to toast up as well, and I'll show you the finished product. Where did I put my spoon? So that was just about 5 minutes. And most of my clams are open. I don't want to wait till all of them are open, or I'm gonna overcook the ones that opened early. So I'm gonna go ahead and fish those babies out and just show you how beautiful they can be. Any of them that are still closed, just throw back in there. They just might need a little bit more time. No big deal there. All those beautiful clams. There we go. Nicely steamed clams. Look, it's gonna fog up my video. So I like to take some of that poaching liquid and I pour it over top of them. Oops, big mess. And then I take the crostinis from the oven. Throw those on top. So you have some nice white wine steamed clams with toasted baguette on the side. One of our favorite things, definitely one of Hudson's favorite things. Hope you enjoy.